Yeah.
Okay, thanks for your time.
For those who are joining us, I'm told you couldn't hear me before now, but I'm sure you can hear me now. So once again, you're welcome to Late Night Talk. Sorry about the audio issues for those who couldn't hear us. My guest on the line tonight is Barrister King, a firebrand human rights lawyer based in River State, and he'll be doing justice to the legal aspects of something that is really actually a legal issue, which is a new directive in River State, a law or something that is in the Gazette. He'll be explaining to us what that means. And if you've not heard, River State has another executive order. River State has another executive order. And this time, it's an executive order on public burials. And what we know is that violators of this executive order will pay the sum of 10 million naira if they are found guilty. From the 5th of June 2020 through the period of the ravaging coronavirus, any violator of new River State executive order regulating public burials will pay a fine of 10 million naira. This penalty is contained in that executive order prescribing guidelines for the conduct of public burials in River State by Governor Nyesom Wike, published in a June 5 River State Official Gazette, which I'll be showing you on the screen as we're watching. It affects people who died from February 1, 2020. Mr. King, good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, Kofi. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight on Late Night Talk.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much.
Okay, for those who do not know, what exactly is an executive order? Let's start from there.
Well, executive order is an order made by the made by the governor in this instance, Governor of River State, following the coronavirus law made by the president, and also empowered by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So is there, we used to call it a quarantine act or quarantine law. So that's the law. It's been there 1930, a bit 20 old law. So but right now, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, they are not actually making a new law or overhauling the whole thing. So they are taking this as this. So this is part of the executive order as empowered by the Constitution to be made. I must say something. All these executive orders, both the one by the president and the one by the governors in all the states of the federation, is legal but presently not constitutional.
Can you repeat that, please?
They are legal but not constitutional.
They are legal but not constitutional.
Yeah, they are legal because of what we have at hand, exigencies. But again, if any of them goes contrary to the Constitution, if anybody challenges them, and because it goes contrary to the Constitution will be upheld. I'll give you an example.
Please.
The law that is talking about the Administrative of Criminal Justice Law or Act, as passed by the National Assembly and the states of the Federation, which empowered the President of the Court of Appeal to give a fiat to a judge who has been elevated to Court of Appeal to come back and sit as a High Court judge to deliver judgment by the judgment in Joseph Okalu's case, now that has made him to be a free man right now. It was legal, but was not constitutional. That was what the court said. It was legal, yes. There's a law, that the new law, that law was 2015. That's talking about the Administrative of Criminal Justice Act or law. It was made in 2015, and the River State domiciled it in 2016 or so. Right now is a law, but it's not constitutional. That is what the Supreme Court said in Joseph Okalu's case.
Is it the Administration of Criminal Justice law? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm just giving you an example. Administration of Criminal Justice is one of the examples. It was a law. It was legal. It was a law passed by the National Assembly. But because it goes contrary to the Constitution, that's why I said it is legal but not constitutional. And when something is not constitutional, you have to go. That was why they said for the judge to have been elevated to Court of Appeal and the president of the Court of Appeal gave him a fiat to come back and continue the case. They tried to make it legal. That was legal because there was a law, Administration of Criminal Justice Act was there for them to use. So they used it and come back. And the Supreme Court said no, that by the Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria, if a judge has been elevated to Court of Appeal, he cannot come back to sit. If he sits and give judgment, I asked the question, I said, what is he going to sign as? Is he going to sign as a High Court judge? If he signs as a High Court judge, he's not a High Court judge. If he signs as a Supreme Court of Appeal judge, yes, he's not a Court of Appeal judge. Then the judgment is not a Court of Appeal judgment. So there's a problem. I support the judgment. So I'm just giving that as an example that all these governors and presidents, they are passing executive order right now, which is not constitutional, until they go back to the Constitution and amend it. It is not constitutional. That's what I'm trying to say. And when the Constitution and any law made pursuant to the Constitution conflicts, the Constitution takes precedence. That is what we are saying. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so
right now, most of the COVID pandemic, both at Kaduna State, Rivers State, Lagos State, they are legal. Yes, because of what we have at hand, but they are not constitutional until they are put. For instance, I'll give you another one.
Okay.
When INEC wanted to do election, they said that you cannot take your phone to the phone booth. That was legal by the INEC because of for stop people snapping, but it's not constitutional. If anybody goes and takes his phone to the phone booth, you cannot charge him to court. For which law will you charge him? It's not an offense to take your phone to a voting booth. There is not an offense. They cannot charge you. And anything that the law did not say, they have not prescribed punishment, it's not law. That is what I'm trying to say. So something can be legal, but not constitutional. And I am damning all these pandemic laws and lockup and all that, like even all this lockup, they are legal, but not constitutional.
Okay,
even the face mask is legal, but not constitutional.
Barrister King, are you saying that it's legal, not constitutional, in the sense that it is not in consonance with the Nigerian Constitution, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended? Where lies the legality? You're saying such things are not constitutional but are legal. If it's not in the Constitution or it's not at par with the Constitution, then where lies the legality? I would like to explain to us. It's legal because, for instance, it's legal because they made it for exigency, for emergency, for the situation, but for the force majeure, hand of God, natural thing that just happened that the Constitution did not foresee. Yes, the governor can do that, the president can do that. Yes, but if you challenge it, if somebody says no, this is that, which people are preparing, some of us are preparing to challenge some of them when the court opens. And the Constitution will agree with us that it's not constitutional. That was why I gave you the Odious of Kalu case. I also gave you the INEC issue. So some things are legal but not constitutional. Until it becomes, Constitution is our ground norm all over the world. Constitution is the one that can never be broken. Once anything is put in the Constitution, then it's good to go. But if it's not there, yes, governors can make laws to safeguard us for good governance and all that, but they have to go back to the Constitution to get it enshrined so that it becomes law. That is why you see we have been presently now we are calling 1999 Constitution as amended. So because we are amending it in bits by bit and bit by bit and bit by bit. Just like again, I'll give you another one again. INEC tried to use electronic voting during this thing. It's not constitutional. Until in 2015 they couldn't use it. The 2019 they now enshrined it, so they now use it. It becomes legal and constitutional. Okay, so if you're just joining us, of course, the post is up. You can see that we're talking about the new River State Executive Order, guidelines on burial ceremonies in River State, and even burial of people who are outside River State. And my guest this evening is a legal practitioner, lawyer based in Port Harcourt. His name is Harry King. He joins us from his home in Port Harcourt today. So we're looking at the aspects of this, and also, of course, now based on what he said, the constitutionality, Oyibo, of this. So you can share your thoughts with us by commenting on this live stream. My name is Kofi Bartels, and this is Late Night Talk. Simply type your comments in the comment section. I'll read them as we go on. When we're done with a lawyer, if you'd like to call and have your say as well, you can call the number on the post 080-620-99556. That is 080-620-99556. But if you've not heard, well, you're hearing it on Late Night Talk, that His Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, Governor Nyesom Wike, has signed an executive order, another executive order into law. I'm just going to read some aspects of this, Barrister, so you can tell me what you think about this. I sent them to you earlier today, and I'm sure you've had a time, to go through them. Have you had?
Yeah, look at it.
Okay, so we'll look at the relevant aspects of this. But the thesis, for those who have not seen it, is that if you're found to have flouted this particular executive order, you're liable to pay a fine of 10 million naira. You're liable to pay a fine of 10 million naira. Now, our guest on the program tonight is saying that such laws are not constitutional but are legal. Now, Mr. Hayaking, are you talking about the Quarantine Act, or are you talking about executive orders in general in Nigeria?
No, I'm talking about the executive orders, both the one issued by the president and the one issued by the governors, because of what we have at hand, the so-called almighty, now deflected, now humiliated COVID-19.
Okay.
Now disgraced COVID-19.
You feel is humiliated now?
He has been humiliated. Their intention has been God has flawed them.
Wow.
Like bag of rice that he fell from a truck.
Amazing.
Without anybody holding it. COVID-19 has been flawed, defeated, knocked out.
Do you feel it was not what they said it was? I don't use
It
the word
was
scam.
a fluke. It was
fluke.
a complete fraud all over the world. Big fraud, biggest fraud that the world embarked upon. All presidents of the world, governors, biggest fraud ever. People will be arrested after now. People will be proved.
Barrister,
will do it.
Fraud by who?
Americans will do it.
Fraud by who?
By all over the world, the presidents, governors, all over, not just Nigeria. They started the fraud abroad, and that fraud from abroad, Nigerian people now saw the Nigerian governors and presidents saw the opportunity. Their own is money opportunity they are making from it. What they are making from Nigerians are money. They don't even know what the white people intended to do. Are you aware that we are supposed to be locked down till 2021? Are you not aware? But according to Bill Gates and his cohorts and Dr. Fauci, are you not aware of that?
Did Bill Gates enact any law?
Bill Gates, everybody, the original plan is that the world will be locked down. Everybody must be in his house.
Planned by who?
Between now and 2021.
Planned by who?
That was the plan of Bill Gates.
No, but
Dr. Fauci.
No, if Bill Gates has,
what they are saying now.
No, if Bill Gates has his own idea, his own. Bill Gates is not the one who brought coronavirus. He's not the one who makes. Sorry. He's not the one who has the power to make decisions as far as Nigeria is concerned. He cannot even make decisions for America. He's just a citizen, a corporate citizen. So if he shares his view, it does not mean that that's his plan. He can't control the health of the world.
If you share your view, Kofi, it's your plan. Even Dr. Fauci, the head of the CDC in America, they said people will be locked down and closed until 2021 when the virus, what do you call it, the virus, the antidote is found now.
The vaccine.
The vaccine, I mean to say. And that was what they said. It was supposed to be locked down to 2021 now. Are you not aware? That was the original target. Nobody will come out, nobody will do anything, the world will be locked down until 2021. They have been defeated. People are reopening and nothing, people are seeing it. Anyway, that is a story for another day.
Yes,
just for an aside. So, these laws, these executive orders are made pursuant to the defeated, humiliated COVID-19. So it is still not constitutional until you go to the constitution and put them there. That is what I'm trying to say. And that is the law. That is the position Constitution is the ground norm, is the highest law of the land. Every law is made pursuant to the Constitution. If you don't see what they said in that new executive order, the governor said, pursuant to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Section 248 of the Quarantine Act and all that, as passed by National Assembly and recognized by the Constitution and all that. So they are passing to that to pursuant. So every law is made pursuant.
But Mr. Hayaking, the Quarantine Act is a law in Nigeria and it's been passed by the relevant organization or body, which is the National Assembly. That's why it's a law.
I agree now. It's a recognized law. I'm not saying they're not recognized.
So what is unconstitutional about the Quarantine Act and the executive orders that are passed?
No, what I'm saying is that
yes.
I didn't say they are unconstitutional. I said a law or something can be legal but unconstitutional. Okay. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. If it clashes with the Constitution. That was why I gave you the example of what of Carlos issue that clashed. And the Constitution takes over. That is what I'm trying to say. Now, you tell me to close my mouth. You are not even wear face mask. You are not even considering whether I am asthmatic, whether I will die. God, we have already been getting stories of people fainting and dying as a result of that. Now you are breathing in the carbon dioxide you are taking out. People have said, no, it's wrong. But again, they say, oh, because of defeated COVID-19, we are it. Oh, because of this, do this, and all that, and all that, and all that.
But now, I mean, people were dying, and that was the way to prevent people from dying.
Let Nigeria give me the statistics of people that died from January 2019 to May 30th, 2019, and give us the people that died from January 1st, 2020 to May 30th, 2020. That's when you know that people died last year more than this year. You don't know? Are you not aware of that? Statistics are there. People died more last year between January and May more than this year. One of the reasons is that people even refuse to go to the hospital again from March for fear of being tagged COVID-19 patients. Okay. Are you not aware that people are being buried? Okay. People during the COVID, people were buried, just taken and gone, but they didn't go to the hospital anymore. But a lot of people died. I know how many people that went to be buried secretly and silently. So leave that side. People died more. Let's forget all those things. Even America should produce their statistics of people that died from January to May. And the one that died this year, China should bring, Spain should bring.
Okay, Mr. Hayaking, let's leave that and get back to because I'm sensing we would have to bring you back another day to have a debate as regards this particular issue of COVID-19 and whether it was a scam or not.
Okay,
but
no problem.
I would like to read some portions of these. So you're saying executive orders are not constitutional, but the Quarantine Act, as I said, is law. It was passed by the relevant parliamentary body in Nigeria. So how come you're saying it's unconstitutional?
I am not saying. I say they are legal because of the position, the time that we are in. But if you, in the process of making those executive orders, you step on people's rights, the thing goes contrary to the Constitution. Constitution takes precedence. There's nothing wrong with making laws, emergency laws, emergency orders to meet up what we have at hand. Nothing wrong with it.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with it. That's what I'm saying. But if it goes, if somebody challenges it, you can be doing something and you think is normal. You are going on, you think is normal. It's not normal because nobody has challenged it. I'll give you another example.
Okay.
These don't make cost in the bank. Don't make cost in it. Even now, because people like us have to give bankers orientation. I had the opportunity of lecturing some bank people because of my way of my by nature of my job. I had to lecture. I said, look, for instance, don't make calls in the bank. There is no law that says you shouldn't make call in the bank. There is no law. There is no law. It's the truth. I'm telling you that there is no law. Okay. Now, if you say I made call in the bank, one of those days when this phone came new and they were harassing people in the bank, immediately you bring her, don't make call. You see security rush you. I told them, I said, I don't want to beg anybody. Charge me to court. I don't want to beg. Charge me. There is no law to charge you for making call. There is no law that says you shouldn't make call in the bank or stop in front of a bank. But they harass people every day for stopping in front of a bank. They will even write no parking. no making of calls. Who said so? There is no law. Or even a police station, keep your phone outside. Don't enter. There is no law that says you must. If you challenge it, it's unconstitutional, but they have made it like a law. Everybody is obeying it. Why would you prevent me from taking my phone into a police station? There is no law that says I cannot take my phone into a police station. So I insisted that day, I want to be charged to court. They said that true, there's no law to be charged this man. So it's not an offense to make calls. But now, they are now realizing that customers even need to make call in the bank to do transaction in their place of their business. So why wouldn't I make call in the bank? But we told them, we said, look, if you see a customer making a call, the customer is using vernacular or using English, say, oh boy, we are ready, no, they come out. You stop that customer. You can intercept him as a security man. Just watch the customer. You can eavesdrop on the call he's making. You say, oh boy, they come out. We are red shirt, we are black, this thing. He's giving information to somebody to attack a customer. So it's your duty as a security man in the bank to ask him, please stop. You are making a call, you are telling somebody, what is that? You stop him. You catch my point? That's it. But you don't go and embarrass a customer. What about if he wants to get the account number or he wants to confirm something? But now I think they are limited. It's at the barest minimum now. No bank security will harass you again, or even police will say, you don't make call in the. So that's an example of one of it. There are several things we do, we think is a law. It's not. For instance, now you enter aeroplane, you see all those laws behind it. Luggages at owner's risk. This one, that one. They call them exclusion clauses. Okay. Luggage at my risk, and you carry me inside your aeroplane, and my luggage missed, and you telling me it's at my risk. What kind of law is that? You are just excluding yourself from liability. I'm not giving you several things that are not. That look legal, but they are not legal. They are not constitutional.
I see. What about vehicles parked at owner's risk?
What?
Cars parked at owner's risk.
Cars parked at owner's risk. You own the compound. I have security man standing there, and I come down. Security man carries my car away, or you are taking a toll from me, and you're telling me car at owner's risk. It is you that try to exclude yourself from responsibility. Is it not possible that you have cars at owner's risk, and when I leave, you carry my car, you take another key, start my car, remove, and not tell me car at owner's risk? You will pay. The aeroplane will pay. They call it exclusion. They call it, if you challenge it, you will get your money. It's not that Nigerians don't challenge. They say, it's written there. Now, if the thing is written behind my ticket, I'm boarding an airplane, and the thing is written there, so you expect me to object. So if I object, I won't board the plane now. So how will I go to where I'm going? I will board your plane, pay you for the excess luggage, take my luggage 15 kg or whatever kg, 15 kg for international reason. I will take the 15 the extra one, I now pay you money, including the one you are checking and they are missing, and you are not telling me luggage is at owner's risk. It doesn't work that way. But many Nigerians doesn't even know that it's not a law, that it's nothing binding them. It's called exclusion clauses. You exclude yourself from responsibility. When we go to court, we tell you, no, you have a responsibility to protect this man. In fact, if I am in your party, I am in your compound, you must protect me. If you leave anything you have in your compound to escape and injure me, and you are telling me you did not invite me, in your compound. Okay. I am not a thief. I am not an intruder.
So
you must bear responsibility.
So
that is the law.
So we have all these laws that are not constitutional, but like you're saying, some things may be legal, but they are not constitutional. I think we have a perfect understanding based on what you said. If you're just joining us, it's still late night talk, and of course we are looking at a new guideline or new executive order in Rivers State. For burials in the wake of COVID-19. Of course, you would understand that COVID-19 is a pandemic, and even the bodies of those who have died likely from COVID-19, even if it's not known, we have to take all the precautions to ensure that they're buried in a safe manner and that people are kept safe and not exposed to the virus. And I'm sure that's why the government of Rivers State has come up with this executive order, a Rivers executive order on public burial. Violators of this executive order are to pay 10 million naira. Can you believe that? Violators of this executive order will be paying nothing less than 10 million naira, which has given some people cause to complain. Violators are, and this is from June 5, 2020, through the period of the ravaging coronavirus. Any violator violating this executive order on conduct of public burials will be paying that amount of money. The penalty, as I said earlier, is contained in the executive order prescribing guidelines for the conduct of public burials in River State by Governor Nyesom Wike, released on June 5, or published on June 5 in River State Official Gazette, and it affects persons who died from February 1, 2020. Of course, I think that Gazette goes for like 1,000 naira, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Barrister Haya King is our guest today on the program. He's a Port Harcourt-based legal practitioner, as a human rights lawyer, and he joins us from his home in Port Harcourt. Would like to now look at the contents. We'll put it up on your screen so you can see. This is the Gazette. Okay, that's what you're looking at right now. Yes, indeed. And if you look closely, you'll be able to see the contents and even observe the contents. So let's go to the first one here, and then after we take a look at it, lawyer would be giving us a guidance and explanation as we go on. So, River State of Nigeria, Official Gazette. River State of Nigeria, Official Gazette. But Barris, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, all right. So have you been able to go through it?
Yeah, I went through it.
Okay, all right. So here we go. Just a second to try. Okay, yes. Office of the Governor of the Governor, Government House, Port Harcourt, Executive Order RVSG 122020, pursuant to sections 2, 4, and 8 of the Quarantine Act, Cap Q2, laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and Regulation 11 of the Quarantine Act, Coronavirus, COVID-19, and other infectious diseases regulations 2020. Sir, so it's quite clear that this is a law. You're saying it's legal but not constitutional, meaning it can be challenged in the courts, even up to the Supreme Court.
Yes, it can be challenged.
Okay.
Yes, that's the meaning. It can be challenged.
Okay. So let's go on. Executive order prescribing guidelines for the conduct of public burials in River State. So when you hear the term public burials, what do you think? What comes to mind? Because we've been hearing things like public burials, open worship, and all that. And for some people, that sounds a bit confusing. What does the government mean by public burial?
Well, if I understand what they mean, is the normal burial where you gather crowd and all that, hundreds of people gather, begin to celebrate where should be and all that and all that. I think that is what they mean by public burial. I think that's just the meaning of public burial.
Okay.
Because if you go there, you see where they said it should be limited to 50 persons and all that.
Okay, so let's go on. We'll see that as we go, like you said, 50 persons and all that. So it goes on to say, in exercise of the powers conferred on me by sections 2, 4, and 8 of the Quarantine Act, it says, and all the powers enabling me in that behalf, I, Nyesom Wike, CON, GSSRS, Governor, River State, hereby issue the following orders. 1. That this order shall take effect on Thursday, 5th day of June 2020, and shall remain in force till further notice. In this order, A, public burial means any traditional Christian or religious burial, or any burial to which members of the general public may attend or participate, or its conducted within public space. Sir, when I hear things like public burial and all that, open worship and all public this, I ask myself, all burials are public. Even the private burials, people are exposed to health risk in amidst this pandemic. Do you agree with that? Yeah.
You see, Kofi, the truth is that this public burial, in quotes, or this ceremonious burial, this gathering of crowd, printing of billboard, all these things are after the war. Before the war, I know quite all right, because my grandfather died around 1965. My father was working in Enugu. Before my father could get the telegram, you know telegram now, the telegram to Enugu, before he could get the telegram and enter and get a pass or whatever, a pass or permit from his workplace to come to Port Harcourt to the village, his father was buried.
Oh wow.
We don't, yes, that was the way we do, even just the way Muslims do. Once you die, the next moment, that same day, they are burying you. Before he could come the next day, his father was buried. They went and showed him, look at your father's grave. That was how they behave. And to me, there is actually nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
This thing we go and keep people in the mortuary for 2 years, for 3 years, 4 years, begin to build a house, begin to do this. For me, is unnecessary. It's very extremely unnecessary. If this is what this COVID-19 have to achieve, I think it's good. Like I told you, people are being buried every day that you don't know about. People are being buried every day secretly.
But they do it, but they do it quietly and like you said,
they do it quietly, which is what I support. I love that. There's nothing wrong with that. If we can go back to those eras, because Muslims maintain it till tomorrow. Till tomorrow, Muslims stand by it. I said before my father could come from Enugu, his father was buried in Port Harcourt in the village.
No waste of time.
No waste of time. The next day, the father was buried. They went and showed, look at where your father was buried. That's all. They don't embalm. They don't. This embalmment even started after the war. Before they're doing embalmment, now we have this mortuary, this new introduction and all that. These are Western things. But again, even the whites now, they don't even keep in the mortuary for long. Once you marry, you see them 3, 4 persons, 10 persons, they don't go to the cemetery, they just pray, they don't put inside the ground, everybody goes home, no entertainment. For this one, a man that you did not feed while he was alive, you begin to build a house, begin to buy bed, 1 million naira to lie him in state, you want to show off. Some people will go to court to get injunction that you did not put their name in the program. It's so sad. So maybe this one will do that. I love it. But the aspect, I am asking, maybe you have not gotten there. Let me just jump and get to that place.
Okay.
I don't think that 10 million naira I saw there is deliberate. I think it's a typographic error.
Really?
Sincerely, I'm thinking it's a typographic error.
So can you repeat that line again?
I said that 10 million naira I saw there is I don't think it's deliberate. I think it's a typographic error. I want to forgive the governor and the attorney general. I want to defend them that is a typographic error. Until when I see the governor on air and come on the attorney general, who I know very well, and come on air to say actually they meant 10 million. I am telling you that I think that's why you see me since I've been talking for over 30 minutes now with you. I've just kept silent about the money side. My reaction before you get to that aspect is that I think is typographic error.
Why do you say so, Hayaking? Why do you say you think it's a mistake, a typographical error?
It's insanity now. It's insanity to say somebody to pay 10 million. I will leave the dead body for you now. People will leave the dead body for government people. We'll leave the dead body for you. Pay 10 million naira for what now? That we went to bury somebody and they will leave the dead. You say dead body will litter the streets and the mortuary. They will leave the dead body for government. Government will begin to bury everybody now, which is even good. The government will now buy and begin to bury everybody, which is better.
Wow.
10 million naira. My mother, for instance, and my father, I didn't even spend 10 million naira to bury him when I buried him. Even now, sir, I will be mad to spend 10 million naira to bury anybody. I'm telling you the truth. Why should I spend 10 million naira? What am I buying? How much coffee am I buying? Coffee 150 is okay. 100,000 is okay. 80,000, 70,000 naira buy a coffee. So what again? I feed people. How many people am I feeding? I mean, 10 million. I'll just leave the dead body for you now. We'll leave the dead body for you. Go and take the dead body. If you want to eat it, you eat it. Anything you want to do with dead body, go and do with it. So, my brother, somebody that have died. What are you doing with the dead body?
But don't you think this is all a bait to make sure people do not go run foul of the law?
If you are pushing me to say it is deliberate, if it is deliberate, then it's excessive. It's insanity, as far as I'm concerned.
Wow.
How can that deter people? Do you know what people will do? People will just go behind and be burying their person. Well, after burying, come and dig up the grave, come and dig up the corpse now and charge me 10 million. Now, the people will just go behind in the night and be burying their people now. And be burying their people.
Don't you think this is to forestall any people from to stop people from running foul of the law, and to ensure people do not break the law. So they're having the maximum
it will drive
penalty.
people underground. It will not stop them from breaking the law. It will drive them underground and do it codedly and make sure they bury their person. If you, assuming say we finish burying the person, you now come and say, oh, Higher King, you buried your uncle or you buried your so person, your relation, and then you didn't comply with the COVID law. The person is already on the ground. Go and assume him and take away now. Go and assume him and take to your house now, or take to government house and keep in government house. Go and assume him and take the body away. What's my business? Because I saw in the law, there is no imprisonment, there is no option. It's just 10 million. No option of fine, no 10 million naira fine, no other option.
That is a fine.
I will just tell you I did not bury the person now. That is what will happen. People will now go under and begin to commit the main crime. That was why people said legalize India hemp. Because if you legalize India hemp, people will not go underground to be using it to make so much money. But India hemp is big business and big money because you have contrabanded. I'm not saying they should legalize. I'm just giving you an example of people that say they should.
Yeah.
I'm giving you just an example. I didn't say they should legalize it. Some countries that legalize it and they are going on with it. So if you do this kind of thing, people will just go under. I'm not telling you what I will do if it is me. If I go secretly and bury, you discover. You go and assume. You have to prove now that I was the one that buried the person now. You have to prove it. The way you prove it, you go and collect the 10 million from the dead body now. And if I don't have the 10 million, what will I do?
Okay. Sir.
I don't have 10 million, what will I do?
Interesting.
I will now, my brother, I don't think I think it's a topographic error for me. I think it's a topographic
Well,
error.
Barrister Higher King says he feels that 10 million naira that was inserted, and let's just look at it again, in the River State executive order regarding burials. So we are trying to fight coronavirus is a typographic error. We would like to read some messages before we read some more of that law. So please permit us to just do that, and then we will come back to our guest. John Bright joins us live online. Good evening to you, John Bright. You can see there section 4B, where they say the applicant shall pay a penalty of 10 million naira to the government of River State for any breach of the conditions, guidelines, or protocols specified in the approval and set out herein. And that is what guest Barrister Haiking is saying. He feels the government made a typographical error. Haiking, please permit us to read these messages so we'll come back to you. John Bright says the government should leave.
Hello?
Okay, John Bright says the government. Hiking, are you there?
Yeah.
Hello, Hiking, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay. John Bright says the government should leave the people alone. What guidelines? He's asking. Who else is here? Onyoku Goodluck says people who died before COVID-19 there, the people are meant to bury their loved ones. The guidelines should be for someone who died as a result of the pandemic. Okay. So what do you say to that? Someone here is saying the guidelines should be for those who died as a result of the pandemic, not for, even if you died before February 1, like they said, or after February 1, sorry. If you didn't die as a result of the pandemic, they're saying the guidelines should not be for you. Do you agree with that person?
The law is even retroactive. The law goes back to from 1st of February. That's what I saw on that law. From 1st of and law, most time you don't make law retroactively to go and catch up with things that have already passed. For instance, if by 2007, kidnapping in River State was not a capital offense. And you now make it and say everybody that kidnapped from 2007 becomes a culprit. I don't know how that works. For me, in law, it's a bad drafting for you to say that everything starts from February 1st. But again, there is a provision here where they said if the person is confirmed to be COVID. No, for the 10 million, which I say is a typographic error, is for everybody that violates any portion of the law. So they also said that the person that died of COVID must be tested, for some of the guidelines must be tested, and at the point of testing, if he's discovered to have died of COVID-19, he will be buried within the same day, 3 hours. That's what they said, 3 hours. Be buried within 3 hours. That's what they said. So for me, that general blanket, I don't still think is his intention. I think it's a topographic error. I think they will wake up and they will come back and say something about it. For me, I think so.
Okay.
Seriously.
So are you saying you agree with this person who's sending a message saying that if you didn't die of COVID-19, this law should not affect you?
Has anybody died of COVID-19? I'm just asking.
So
I'm just asking.
No. So are you agreeing with this listener who's saying if you didn't die of COVID-19, the law should not affect you?
My brother, yes, I agree with him. If anybody indeed have died of COVID-19, shouldn't apply to him at all. No, sorry, did not die of COVID-19, shouldn't apply to him.
Okay.
Maybe it could apply to the people that they admitted and died of COVID-19. Indeed, COVID-19, indeed. Then they can apply that to them. But like I said, I still maintain that I think that is a topographic error.
Okay, we have another one coming in here. Let's see. This is Solomon James Ebong. Solomon, good evening to you. Someone has a comment here which I'd like to read. Okay. He says, Kofi, good evening to me. I would have to advise any bereaved not to worry, but to throw the firewood away because it is a waste of money and time. That is the dead person. Okay, it's calling dead body firewood. Okay, David Wachiko says, how the poor bury their dead? People are suffering and you're giving out an order that will not be obeyed by Rivers people. I think the governor should reverse this order. Another one here sent in by Solomon James Ebong again says, Kofi, let the government do what they like. And I repeat, when your person died, just open the ground and bury the person, not until you do a befitting burial. Israel the Minstrel says, good evening, thank you very much. Treasure, Timmy Dare says, good evening, nice one, Kofi, thank you, Treasure. Eddie Wanko, Eddie is a top fan of this page. He says, this executive order has some areas requiring clarification. Number one, is private burial allowed by this order, which is what I was asking you, sir. And the whole concept of public burial, what is public burial and what is private burial? Says, he's asking, what is private burial? If private burial is not allowed and the governor is to sign approval himself for all burials in the state, what is the turnaround time from when the application is made and when the approval is or will be? I'm trying to get the rest of his comment. Excuse me. Okay, I can't see when the approval will be given. I think he means to say. So what do you say to this?
Come again.
So it's asking, number one, Eddie Wango is asking, is private burial allowed by this order? What is private burial? Because the order is talking about public burial. So he's asking about what exactly is private burial if it's covered under this.
Private burial is the one I've just explained now. You just take your man, your person's corpse surreptitiously and go to bury. That is what they are saying. If you take the person surreptitiously without all those necessary applications, you just take the person surreptitiously and went to bury. That's when you pay the 10 million, whether the person died of COVID-19 or not. That's what the law is saying. You not pay the money. So if you take him surreptitiously, just take him, maybe died in the house, you just go to your backyard, just dig ground and bury him. That's what they are saying. How can government monitor it? The person that you read his statement said, why do you make a law that you cannot enforce? It's useless. Can you enforce this? So where will the agents be? Where will the government officials be? So they will be going and let them tell me who died today in my village this night or in their own village. People are dying as we are talking. Now somebody dies. And because of this thing now, you are going to pay 10 million, they will quickly tomorrow morning, they just dig ground behind and just bury the person. That is what is called private burial. So how would you get them? I beg. I am still thinking is a typographic error. It's not deliberate.
Mr. King, so I mean, I'm trying to think about how the governor himself would cope approving all the burials in the state. I mean, we have millions of people in River State. And you know,
they will not even have any other duty to do. Sitting down to approve a burial. That's another. That one will be a full-time work. Even if you give it to me to be doing, that won't be any other thing. You know how many people that we are applying every day? Every day you see that to be approving. I can bet you that you will approve hundreds every day. Hundreds. Every blessed day, hundreds will come for approval. And you see that they're approving on how many hours you have to work in a day? 8 hours. My brother, let's not just do what is not practical. It's not practicable. Some things are not practicable. Just say it in the mass. It's not practical. Even the face mask. How many millions of people will be walking on the streets I'm seeing and they're wearing it? How many will you arrest? Just make money for policemen. going to harass innocent poor people, collecting 5,000 naira from them, 3,000, 2,000. That would have been happening. They just, once hungry, just catch them, just, hey, come here. You know, we are first man. They just stand by the roads and begin to catch the nearby people. That is what government has just succeeded in doing. Empowering police to intimidate the people and violate rights of citizens.
Okay.
That's actually what is happening.
Okay. So we still stick with that gentleman's questions, but I mean, like you were saying, the governor. I mean, Barrister, even signing certificate of occupancy is a hard task for the governor because it takes quite a time to sign certificates of occupancy.
Sign it, I am told that in government house, one room is full of that paper. That if the governor sits down to sign certificate of occupancy, for the next 4 years, you'll be signing only for certificate of occupancy. So not to talk about burial now. They will create one room in government house where you will not sit down and be signing, approving burial. Let them just leave all these shenanigans. I beg.
So as regards this public burial matter, I want to help the gentleman understand what you said, and also bring in this aspect as well. It says public burial means any traditional Christian or religious burial, or any burial to which members of the public may attend. So number one, if it's a traditional burial, automatically it's public burial. That's what they say?
Of course, the public burial is when you get that crowd. Now, these are our usual local.
But can't we have a private traditional burial, or a private Christian burial, or a private religious burial?
You know what they call the Christian burial is when the church comes in the morning to pray and carry the corpse to go and bury. Traditional burial is the one they start in the night with people. They do their traditional things, shoot cannon and all that.
But can't we have private traditional burial where it's just private, it's not open to the public? Because I mean, members of the family can gather for a private
and just few friends. No, I agree with you. Members of the family and few friends.
You know,
I agree with you.
Barrister, even if it's just my family, I can gather my siblings. One can gather siblings because I don't have anyone to bury now. One can gather siblings, maybe uncles, aunties, cousins, in-laws, nephews, nieces, grandchildren, grandparents, distant cousins, in-laws, families of all the children. They will number 100, but that's private because it's not for the public; it's for our family.
Remember, they are also talking about the social distancing.
Mm-hmm.
And they said it has to be limited to 50. Like you said, some family, when you gather cousins, nephews, uncles, brothers, it may be more than 100. Mm-hmm. Maternal, paternal. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, only them alone may be more than 100, you are saying. So, is it still a private burial? It becomes a public burial. I think for me, all burials are public, whether Christian or traditional. They are all public because the public comes. Public will attend. Friends are part of public. They will come to attend the burial.
So why don't they say all burials? Because if they say public burial, people can assume, okay, if it's private, that's within my family, it's a private. And they said any burial that will be conducted in public space. So public space meaning what? A public cemetery?
Public space is simply where the public can access. Playground, church,
mosque,
where the public can access unhindered.
So if I do it in my house, that's fine.
Your house is not a public place. Your house, your compound is not a public place because the public cannot access it. Public place is simply where it's accessible to everybody.
Okay.
So your house is not a public place. Your compound is not a public place.
Okay.
By that definition, yeah.
Okay. Let's get back to Eddie Nwanko, who's giving us a lot to think about with his questions. He's now asking. I'm trying to get his. Okay. Eddie says. Eddie, I can't see your mess. Okay, I can see it now. He says if private burial is not allowed and the governor is to sign the approval himself, because for what it seems, almost every single burial will be a public burial. He says, what is the turnaround time from when an application is made to when the approval will be gotten? Okay, that's something we've just talked about. He says, what is the provision made for when the corpses or where the corpses are to be kept till the approval will be gotten, and at whose cost?
That's a big question. Maybe the government will be paying, but they didn't say so. Since they didn't say so, they won't pay. So where will the cost be? I will put the cost in take the charge of the cost, put in a mortuary, and I begin to go to Ministry of Health. Either himself or the Ministry of Health, Commissioner for Health. Commissioner for Health who has all that job he's doing. So he will not be sitting at the approving burial. Okay, go and do your burial. Okay, go and do your burial. How? What is the yardstick that you are going to use in assessing the person before the approval? So if you don't like the person's face, maybe he's not a member of your party, you say, no, don't bury. I have told you what people will do. People will surreptitiously, secretly, take the people and go and bury. When you discover it, you go and dig up the corpse. You come and prove that corpse is his brother. For him to pay the 10 million. Is it not? So it's a very difficult road to go.
Okay.
It's very, very difficult.
All right. Another question. I think Eddie has done with Eddie's question. Okay, he has another one here. He says, the governor handling some of these things himself looks like he has no confidence in the people working with him. And it says the governor handling some of these things, it looks like he has no confidence in the people working with him, and that does not sound nice at all. That's Eddie Nwanko's message. Ogochukwu is laughing and bursting his lungs out at the sight of the 10 million naira typed here on the post. Amara Noble, good evening to you. Acho Modu is here. Acho Modu, the devil's advocate in this on this program, says if it appears to me that Governor Wike wants to run a country distinct from Nigeria, his use of executive orders that are inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended suggests that the governor is no longer following the grand norm. He says, why should... Okay, I have to just go back to that message. Actually, sorry about that. Okay, he says, why should the governor multiply the grief of the bereaved family, when people lose their relations, the pain they go through should not be increased by the stress of obtaining burial permits as prescribed by the new executive order concerning public burial. How do you define public burial? No burial for me is private. If someone dies in the morning and the family decides to bury him in the evening of the same day or in 2 days, should the family go to government house to obtain a permit? Let's even assume it's a good law. Why centralize the process of obtaining permits? So why not give local government councils the responsibility of issuing such permits? Is a River State government intending to raise revenue from bereaved families? It says the law is obnoxious, draconian, and repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. That's your lawyer colleague there, barrister, with a big English for us. And Amara Noble says, why can't the government decentralize it to the local government area level? Barrister Hiking, what do you say to that? Decentralizing this whole thing.
I don't even think it should even be the responsibility of any tier of government, because the other thing that will happen now is that people will turn it to money-making venture. You will not see people going around villages and town. Oh, come. If you want your burial, give me 50,000, let me go and approve. Give me 10,000. It becomes a business. Because definitely, the person applying for this approval, is he going to go to government house and walk through the gate to governor? Governor will approve, or is he going to walk through the commissioner's, chambers and enter the commissioner chamber for the commissioner to approve? Even to see the commissioner is difficult. Don't talk of the governor. So what is going to happen at the end of the day? We now have agents and burial approval agents. You see signboard on the streets.
People will even tout it and say, "Oh, come, if you do, I'm sharp for you. We'll give you paper."
Yes, the sharp will get them for you 24 hours. You don't get that. You don't
settle me, oh.
But definitely now, that's what I'm saying now. People will take it as business now. They will gather it every villages or every community. They will go and gather the approvals, write for them, and begin to take to government as approval. My brother, I mean, why are we doing things that are looking profitable? That's my point.
Okay. We'll read some more messages from here. Interesting messages here. Philip William. Good evening to you, Philip. Philip says, what is the core intent of this order? Is it to prevent people from gathering so we don't spread the virus amongst ourselves? Barrister, we're having some feedback from where you are.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm saying we're having some feedback from where you are. I can hear myself in the background. Some noise.
You better now?
Oh, better. Yes. All right. So Philip Williams says, what is the core intent of this order? Is it to prevent the people from gathering so we don't spread the virus amongst ourselves, or is it that the dead body will spread the virus? If it is to stop people from gathering, then we should give rules and guidelines that has to do with no. No, with the number of people. Okay, number of people at the burial to ensure that social and physical distancing is observed just the way it has been stipulated for churches. I believe it is even easier to maintain social distancing and the number of restrictions for burials. The gentleman who just sent in this message, embarrassed, I hope you heard it. His name is Philip William. Philip, you probably haven't seen it, so I'm just going to show you the document again. I think it's on the second page. That's page 83 or 84. Yes, here it is, where it talks about the number of people who are allowed at this burial. So it seems to me, and Barris, I don't know if you'd agree, but it seems to me that this is primarily not about the corpse, but about the people gathering. That's why they are, concerned about. You're not just looking at people who died from COVID-19, but everybody. However, it's confusing that they said corpses or people who died from February 1, 2020, because of course people who will attend this burial have been around after February 1, 2020. So that's the absurdity of this whole executive order. Number one, it seems to me that this is targeted at ensuring that people who gather there do not spread COVID-19. Number two, that in case the cause of death is related to COVID-19, that the deceased is to be buried in accordance with the relevant laws. For instance, people who have died from COVID-19, they'll give a death certificate, and where the cause of the death certificate or the death certificate shows that the cause of the death was related to COVID-19, as it says in Section 6 of Paragraph 6, and the deceased is to be buried in River State, the Honorable Commissioner for Health shall direct the applicant to hold the burial immediately under the supervision of officials of River State Ministry of Health. Now, Section 7 talks about the time of the day. It talks about the period to be used. That's no more than 3 hours. So you're looking at 9 a.m. to noon, 12 noon, and no more than 3 hours. Then they're looking at not more than 50 persons, including family members, at the burial ceremony, observing social distancing of not less than 2 meters, and everyone is to wear face mask. Running water shall be provided and soap in not less than 3 points of the venue of the burial ceremony. All surfaces and enclosures are to be decontaminated after the burial. There should be no wake keep or service of songs held for deceased. The burial shall be conducted in the presence of the state government representatives who will observe and ensure compliance with this order. So, and a cameraman to video the burial ceremony. So, sir, if this is all to stop the spread of coronavirus, whether or not the person died of COVID-19, isn't it strange that they're saying it's only for those who died from February 1?
That is what I'm saying. If it is to stop the spread of COVID-19, I read what you read. One of the person that said, is it for the dead not to spread it to the living, or the living not to spread it to the dead? So, if somebody dies of COVID-19, definitely the person must have died at the quarantine center or in a hospital or wherever. He must have been tested. So they now bury him according to the extant law of burial, which is 9 to 12. Immediately, you don't keep him longer. But if somebody that did not die of COVID-19, for you now to go and begin to collect permits, already the government death certificate have shown you didn't die of COVID-19. They now give you permits. That permit, they didn't even say how much to pay. Because at the end of the day, government, they have a fee. Is it part of raising money for the government?
Maybe it's free. That's why they didn't say any. They didn't put any amount there.
Okay, let's assume it's free. But me and you know that even government says it's free, people will pay money for it. The typing, you have to go and type it. You have to go buy paper, type it for 500 naira or 1,000 or whatever. Then transport yourself from where you are. Is it not an extra cost to the living that wants to bury their dead.
But,
What about if you don't have the money?
But barrister, so you asked a question. I think this is two pronged. Number one, looking at the spread, curbing the spread of the virus for anybody who may knowingly or unknowingly have died from COVID-19. That's why they said if the death certificate shows that the cause of death was related to COVID-19 and the disease is to be buried in River State, the Honorable Commissioner for Health shall direct the applicant to hold the burial immediately under the supervision of officials of the State Ministry of Health. Now, for the others who didn't die from COVID-19, they have the social distancing, number of persons, washing of hands, the contamination of surfaces. But my issue is they said this is for people who died from 1st of February 2020. So I'm saying if somebody died in December 2020 and 2019, and we're burying him or her in June 2020, isn't it the same people who would have attended the burial for somebody who was buried in February or who died in February 2020 that will attend? Isn't it the same people who are living in the COVID-19 era now that will attend? So what is the difference between burying somebody who died before February 1, 2020 and burying somebody who died after February 1, 2020? That's my... Because there's an application for approval relating to the burial of any person who died
Exactly. That's what we are saying too. That means people that died February 1st and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond, yes. They don't need application. That's the meaning now. They don't need application. They can only observe the social distancing thing and all that. Because from the law says from February 1st, 2020
mm-hmm.
and up. Then people that die from 30th and beyond, they don't need application. That's the meaning. Yeah, for me, you see, it's confusing.
Okay.
Now, if it's the death that will spread the COVID, that fear of the death spreading it. So somebody who died as a result of COVID-19, already there's a provision how they are buried. You take them down immediately, within 3 hours, you are buried them.
Mm-hmm.
So even a lot of people will not even want to attend such burial.
Mm.
But the person that did not die of COVID-19, the certificate has said he did not die of COVID-19. And you now have to make him go through the rigors of application, the pain of application. And if his application is not approved, he cannot bury. So assuming they have prepared everything to bury, hoping that the application will be approved in 1 week, and it turns out that the application is not approved in 1 week, in 2 weeks, what happens? I still think that thing is not deliberate. I think it's in error.
Okay.
The 10 million naira I'm seeing there, I think is in error, not deliberate.
So, Barrister, contrary to what I just said, I think there's something that I skipped, which indicates that every single public burial needs an application, no matter when you died. But what they're saying is that if the person died from February 1, then your application needs to be accompanied with a death certificate showing the cause of death of the deceased, in particular whether the death was related to COVID-19, and a written undertaking signed that the applicant shall pay a penalty of 10 million naira to the government of River State. Okay, can you hear me, sir?
No, come again.
Okay, I'm saying it seems that there's something I skipped, which I need to point out. The law itself is for all public burials in River State, whether you died before February 1 or not. Hello, sir. There. Whether you died before February 1 or not. But if you died from February 1, 2020 downwards, then your application should be accompanied with a death certificate showing that the cause of the death of the deceased, and in particular whether it was related to COVID-19 or not, and a written undertaking signed by the applicant that the applicant shall pay a penalty of 10 million naira to the government of River State for any breach of the conditions, guidelines, or protocols specified in the approval and set out herein. And the applicant has read this order and quarantine and other infectious disease regulations number 3 of River State. You need to read all of that as well. Prescribing the penalty for breach of conditions, guidelines, blah 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 blah. You have to read all of that. So the what do they call it again? The executive order covers burials, all public burials, but for February 1 downwards, it's for those who apply what they need to add, which is a death certificate and a written undertaking. But Barrister, I want to read another question or another contribution here before we round up. Acho Modu says, I think I read your statement already, Acho. Okay, I have, yes. Barcelona Rie says the February 1 limitation makes no sense. The February 1 limitation makes no sense. Okay. Thank you, Barcelona Rie, for that one. We have another one here. It's becoming a little difficult to read these messages. This is sent in by AB George Apangolo, who says, for me, the guidelines given is not bad. This is applicable in some other states like Bayelsa, Abia, etc. to stop the spread of the virus. But where the problem lies is with the penalty, because error is inevitable. And if that happens, there will be problem for the bereaved to begin to pay such amount in this period of this pandemic. Okay. Prince Richard Ezebuo Obeneme says maybe he wants to take statistics of the dead. Barrister, that is a funny one. Says maybe he wants to take statistics of the dead.
You want to do what?
He says maybe the governor wants to take statistics of the dead, but that is just I'm sure.
You want to take what?
On it, I'm saying he just said on a lighter note that maybe the governor wants to take statistics of the dead. But someone made a point about the possibility of making a mistake. If you look at the guidelines, if maybe somebody just comes in who was not invited and breaks into the premises where they say you should have not more than 50 people, including family members. So if somebody who was not invited or was on the list breaks in there and says, that is my friend or my father, or you wouldn't invite me, I'm coming, I must enter, and the government officials are there, it means that you're going to pay 10 million naira for just that breach. Or maybe they're supposed to have 3 points of washing hands, and they had only 2. Or they had 3, but one, water was not inside the bucket. It means that you're going to pay 10 million naira. If somebody stubbornly refuses to wear a mask and enters a burial ground, it means that one person, you will pay 10 million naira.
That is what I said. That is why I said, if it is my relation, I will just give them the cups and walk away. What am I doing with the cups now? Will you live in the same house with the cups? I will give them the cups and walk away. Carry the cups and go now. People will die when they don't see their cups. Will everybody die? I will give them, carry the cups and let the cups give you 10 million. Maybe if they sell the cups, they will make 10 million. You don't make laws that cannot be enforced. You don't make laws that are not applicable. They shouldn't be. Laws are not meant to be excessive. You don't. There's one other law that is similar thing to this. The tax law. I didn't know until recently when I came across it. If you fail to pay your tax in a year before 3 months or before the stipulated time, your income tax, Kofi, are you aware that the penalty is 50,000? Even when your tax for the year is 5,000, penalty. It's part of the things I want to challenge. Penalty is 50,000. They made it. You pay 50,000 because you fail to pay your tax. Because your tax is 5,000. It initially was 5,000 naira fine. They just amended it and put 50,000. Now go and ask the same government people. Has it made people to be paying this tax? It still does not. People now will now shrink back because if I fail to pay my tax as at when due, if I now come to pay, my tax is 10,000 naira for that year. I will not pay 50,000 before I will not pay the 10,000. It doesn't make sense. Go and ask the tax, my friend in the tax office, I have to say, my brother, we know they see them again like that. Too. But if when the thing was 5,000, even people that are in default, they come and just still pay. But now government wants to make more money. They are not even making it because people are running away. That is why if you go to do 3 years tax clearance, the least anybody can give you genuine tax clearance is 200 and something thousand. Assuming your income puts you at 10,000 naira a month, you first pay 150 first. 150 is non-negotiable. Then you pay your 10,000 for the 3 years. That's 180 plus small other charge. So 200,000 naira. Anybody that does any tax clearance, if you have not paid your tax for the past 3 years, that does any tax clearance that is less than 200, 150. In fact, it's a fake tax clearance. It's a broker. That tax clearance is a broker. So these are the things we are talking about. Many people don't know until when I discovered 10,000 naira will not pay 50,000 naira for it. Say yes, so you pay 50,000 naira. Clean, very, very punitive. You don't make things laws like that to be very punitive. People will now find other ways to circumvent it. That is what happens. Like this one now, it will be circumvented. People will run away, say, keep your application, keep your approval. They will be going to bury. After they bury 1 day, 2 days, so government will now be going from compound to compound, completely. I'm assuming people, assuming people and be checking when they bury them.
No, they said they'll be sending monitors to monitor every single burial.
Bros, do you know what it means for government to employ? That means they're going to employ another set of rivers people or Nigerians.
Maybe they'll have a task force on burial.
The task force on burial and employ them. Who will pay them? Government. Where they are talking about the staff that they are having, the civil servants, they are not even pay them. The minimum wage, they are begging for them to pay minimum wage. They're not paying minimum wage.
No,
they want to employ.
But we've been seeing lots of task forces to enforce government executive orders and laws.
Bros,
maybe we expect to have a task force on burial enforcement.
Burial. There's 23 local government. Let's just do rough estimate of how many manpower you need for that. The 23 local governments. In each 23 local government, can we say each of them have 23 villages? Some have more than that. Even if you say each local government have, let's say, 20 villages or 20 communities, each local government, some are more than that, let's say 20. 20 times 23. That's about 660. Am I right? I'm not very good in mathematics. No, 410, 200, okay, 460.
Okay, 20 times 20.
460. 460. Okay. 460 villages. So these 460 villages, how many tax force will you send to 450 villages? I'm not talking about the township now. So 450 villages. Are you going to send one person for tax force? They will chase them away.
And say per village, you have 5 burials in a weekend. That'll be like 2,000 burials per every weekend. And some of them may not even have the money to hire a cameraman to film the burial, but they have to. We are talking.
Let's look at the estimation of the task force member that will go to monitor this thing effectively. So you now have 46 villages, and I know 460 villages in River State. I know it's more than that. So these 460 villages, let's say you give for effective monitoring, you give them five
barrels.
Monitors, five task force monitor members. So 5 times 400, that's about 2,000. So we now government will employ nothing less than 2,000 to 3,000.
But Barrister, you're missing something. So if they have 460 towns and villages in River State, and since the burials are meant to hold within 9 a.m. and noon, 12 noon, so if you're having 5 burials per town or per village, 5 burials per town or per village, separate burials, which means that you need more than 2,000 people because you have officials going to the burials across at the same time, except they're going to live here and go there, live there and go there. You might need more than 2,000 people to monitor these burials every weekend.
To monitor them. So is it not insanity? For me, it's insanity. So where are they monitoring them from? From a mortuary. They are going to monitor them from the mortuary as they are carrying the corpse. Or they are now going to the villages, the ones that died at night, that doesn't have money to take to mortuary, that will embalm their people at home. And tomorrow morning or the next 3 days they bury. I beg, no can I just leave me my arrest, I beg.
Barrister Hakim, we have to leave it at that. It's quite an interesting conversation. I would like to thank you for your time. We have some messages coming in. Eddie Wanko is asking, how does this regulation affect condolence visits? How about relatives, friends, and well-wishers visiting to console the bereaved and leave before the private burial? This is well, they're saying well, is it before the burial and even before the burial and after the burial? Because condolences will continue to come after the burial, before the burial and after the burial.
My brother, you can see that the thing. I don't know what they are trying to achieve. For defeat, I repeat again, for a defeated, disgraced, disgruntled, knocked out COVID-19. That is what they are doing all this one.
Hi, King. We'll have to debate this matter some other day, but I want to thank you very much for your time. It's been very.
Thank you very
We've been
much
speaking for more
Kofi.
than an hour, about an hour and 16 minutes, 17 minutes already. 1 hour, 17 minutes.
Thank you very much.
But
Thank you very much.
it's always a thrill having you, and I'm sure that in subsequent days we'll have you here with us in our online studio so we can do a one-on-one sometime
Thank you
soon.
very much.
Thank you very much, and regards to the family. Have a fantastic night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Interesting. Very interesting conversation there. I wish we had time to take your calls for those of you who are watching live online, but time no day. I wish you could take your calls, but time no day. My oh my. Time flies, they say, when you're doing what you love doing. But I think on radio, on TV, time flies fast. Because you have 30 minutes to talk. On radio or TV, you think you have all the day. The whole day. When you sit down there, before you say, time is gone. I wish you could take another call, but we don't have time. If you want to call it, maybe tomorrow we'll do an open day. But I want to thank all of you who are watching. This matter no be here. So get ready to pay 10 million naira. If you have an approval to bury, first of all, you have to write to the government. The governor has to approve. And you have to send that to government house or through the Ministry of Health maybe. And when they approve, you have to get your response. You have to follow up. So the commissioner would leave COVID-19 monitoring and be monitoring burials. I don't know. Maybe he'll have a PA who will handle that. So from there, they send it to government house, and governor would have to approve. They have to find out if you are telling the truth, about what you're saying, or that you have to present a death certificate and some other things. And they will now send monitors to your burial. So if somebody breaks one of those rules, get ready to pay 10 million naira. 10 million naira. I can see more comments coming in. Let's see who we have here. Wow, who is this? Is this Acho? Okay, this is Acho. I thought as much because the message is long. Acho, don't mind me. By the way, I'd like to say good evening to Silver Melody, Joseph, Legbosi, Marvelous. Your name is pretty long. Thanks for your time. It says, how can I get to listen in? What station is this, Ed? You're listening where you should be listening right now. So every single weekday, Monday to Friday, from 9:30 p.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, from 9:30 p.m. Make sure that you are on this page, and you would catch me live. Achomodu says the governor should have a human face in his decisions. How do you define a public burial? No burial for me is private. If someone dies in the morning and the family decides to bury him in the evening of the same day or in 2 days' time, should the family go to the government house to obtain a permit? Let's even assume it's a good law. Why centralize the process of obtaining permits? Why not local government councils issuing such permits? Is the River State government intending to raise revenue from bereaved families? Okay, I think I've read this already, Acho. Before now, you sent it in, and I'm very glad for your time. I want to thank all of you who've been with us, and those who are still online watching right now. I want to say thank you very much for your time. And if you have any suggestions as to, maybe how we can make the program better and all that, I welcome it. And you can just send a message to my inbox here on Facebook, or you can send an email to me. My email address is kofibartels@gmail.com. kofibartels@gmail.com. If you think we should start earlier, feel free to send your suggestions to me as well. I want to thank you for your time. And for those who've been asking what station this is, and I'm just on my Facebook page, and I'm reaching you every single night. We've been doing this every single weekday, bar 1 or 2 weekdays, since April. So this is 2 months, or even before April, maybe February ending. I don't know. So we've been doing this every single night. We've had more than 20 episodes. Because we're doing 5 times a week, a month. That should be 20. And so about 60 episodes so far, or maybe 50. That's not a bad feat at all. And I'm very proud and happy about that. It's all online. You can always watch it any day. And it'll go bigger and bigger by God. So I want to thank God. I want to thank Sammy who've been here helping assist to make sure that everything, is put up every single night. Guys, I'm putting my hands together for you. Thank you very much. This is a political nonantorum. My name is Kofi Bartels. God bless you. And see you tomorrow. Good night.